Philadelphia in the 1700s was already transforming into one of the most important cities in colonial America, a bustling center of commerce, politics, and culture that would soon become the birthplace of a nation. By the middle of the century, it had grown from William Penn's carefully planned settlement into a thriving metropolis that rivaled the great cities of Europe in both ambition and influence. In this video, I use modern AI tools to bring historic paintings, maps, and engravings to life, shifting perspective, changing camera angles, and moving through these scenes in ways their original creators never imagined possible. The goal isn't simply to observe the past, but to step directly into it, to walk the cobblestone streets as they once were, and experience what it might have felt like to live in this remarkable city during its most transformative century. And if you stay with me until the end, we'll explore how these same locations appear today, revealing what time has preserved and what has been forever changed. Before we enter the heart of Philadelphia's golden age, it's worth understanding how this extraordinary city began. This painting depicts the arrival of William Penn in 1682, stepping ashore along the Delaware River to establish what he envisioned as a holy experiment in religious tolerance and urban planning. Unlike the haphazard growth of other colonial settlements, Penn designed his city with wide streets, public squares, and careful organization that would shape Philadelphia for centuries to come. Imagine standing on these riverbanks, watching as Penn's vision began to take physical form, brick by brick, street by street, without knowing that this planned community would eventually become the cradle of American independence. By the early 1700s, Philadelphia had already begun to fulfill Penn's ambitious dreams. This view shows the city from the Delaware River around 1720, revealing a waterfront lined with wharves, warehouses, and the masts of countless ships. The Delaware served as Philadelphia's lifeline to the Atlantic world, connecting the city to Europe, the Caribbean, and other colonial ports through an intricate web of trade and commerce. Vessels of every description crowded the harbor, merchant ships arriving with manufactured goods from London, cargo vessels departing loaded with Pennsylvania's wheat and flour, and smaller craft ferrying passengers and supplies between the city and surrounding settlements. For many newcomers to America, this bustling waterfront provided their first glimpse of colonial prosperity and opportunity. The grid of streets stretching inland from the river reflects Penn's methodical planning, with numbered streets running east to west and named streets extending north to south. This rational layout stood in stark contrast to the winding, medieval streets of European cities, representing something distinctly American in its order and democratic accessibility. This engraving captures the Pennsylvania State House as it appeared in the 1730s, long before it would be known to history as Independence Hall. At this time, it served as the seat of colonial government for Pennsylvania, where legislators debated local issues, taxes, and the daily business of governing a rapidly growing colony. The building's modest brick facade and simple bell tower gave no hint of the momentous events that would unfold within its walls. Colonial officials, merchants, and citizens gathered here regularly, participating in the democratic processes that William Penn had established as fundamental to his holy experiment. Within these walls, the Continental Congress would later meet, debate, and ultimately declare independence in 1776, then draft the Constitution in 1787, making this unassuming building the birthplace of American democracy. This scene depicts Christ Church in the 1740s, one of the most impressive religious buildings in colonial Philadelphia. Built in the Georgian style with its distinctive brick construction and elegant proportions, the church served the city's Anglican community and stood as a symbol of established religious authority in Penn's otherwise tolerant city. The church's towering spire, visible from great distances, helped orient travelers and residents alike, serving as both a spiritual beacon and a practical landmark in the growing city. Regular worship services brought together merchants, craftsmen, government officials, and their families, creating a social network that extended far beyond religious observance. What makes this building particularly significant is how it represented the complex religious landscape of colonial Philadelphia. While Penn had founded the city as a haven for Quakers and other persecuted religious groups, by the 1740s, Philadelphia had become home to dozens of different faiths and denominations, each contributing to the city's remarkable diversity. This view shows the bustling marketplace along High Street, now known as Market Street, in the mid-17th century. Here, the daily commerce of Philadelphia unfolded in all its complexity and energy. Farmers from the surrounding countryside brought their produce to sell, while craftsmen displayed their wares and merchants conducted business that connected this provincial city to a global economy. The covered market stalls stretched for several blocks, creating a vibrant commercial heart where people from all walks of life gathered to buy, sell, and exchange news. The scene captures something essential about Philadelphia's character, a place where practical commerce and democratic ideals intersected in the most ordinary of daily activities. Standing in this marketplace, you can almost hear the conversations mixing languages from across Europe and beyond. German immigrants discussing farming techniques, Irish dock workers negotiating wages, and Scottish merchants arranging shipments to distant ports. The sounds would have created a constant hum of activity, punctuated by the calls of vendors and the rumble of cartwheels over cobblestones. This image shows Carpenters Hall in the 1760s, a meeting place for the city's skilled tradesmen and craftsmen. Built by the Carpenters Company, it represented the growing influence of Philadelphia's artisan class, men who worked with their hands but possessed the education and economic power to shape their community's future. The hall's elegant brick facade and carefully proportioned windows reflected the prosperity these craftsmen had achieved in Penn City. Inside, members gathered to discuss trade regulations, apprenticeship standards, and the political issues affecting their livelihoods. These meetings fostered a sense of collective identity among working people that would prove crucial in the turbulent years ahead. This engraving captures the College of Philadelphia in the 1750s, later to become the University of Pennsylvania. Founded by Benjamin Franklin and other forward-thinking citizens, the college represented Philadelphia's commitment to practical education and intellectual advancement. Unlike the traditional classical curriculum of Harvard or Yale, Philadelphia's college emphasized useful knowledge, modern languages, and scientific inquiry. Students studied mathematics, natural philosophy, and commercial subjects alongside literature and moral instruction, preparing them for leadership in an increasingly complex colonial society. The building itself, with its symmetrical design and spacious grounds, embodied the Enlightenment ideals that were reshaping how Americans thought about education, government, and human potential. Faculty and students conducted experiments, engaged in public debates, and contributed to the intellectual ferment that was making Philadelphia a center of colonial learning. This scene depicts the busy wharves along the Delaware River in the 1760s, where the global reach of Philadelphia's commerce becomes strikingly apparent. Ships arriving from London unloaded manufactured goods, textiles, and luxury items that filled the shops along High Street. Vessels from the West Indies brought sugar, molasses, and rum that fueled both Philadelphia's economy and its social life. But Philadelphia's merchants were not merely importing finished goods. The city had become a major exporter of grain, flour, and other agricultural products that fed growing populations throughout the Atlantic world. Local mills processed wheat from Pennsylvania's fertile countryside, creating the flour that made Philadelphia bread famous from Boston to Barbados. From Penn's holy experiment to the bustling marketplace, from quiet guild meetings to global commerce, every scene we've witnessed was quietly preparing the ground for revolution. Philadelphia in the 1700s wasn't just growing into a great city, it was becoming the place where democracy would be born and a new nation would take its first breath. If there's another historic city or moment you'd like to see brought back to life, let me know in the comments.